type of school did you go to?
It was kindergarten at first, St John's at Leyland. Then it was Woodlea, which was a junior school, because you didn't have schools then that went all the way through. You went to the what they call primary schools now, and then when you was 7, you went to the juniors, and then when you was 11, you went to the what they called the senior. And then it was Wellfield after that. Good school is Wellfield. I did a lot of sports there at Wellfield. At one time, when I was 13 years old, I was one of the fastest 13-year-olds in the country.
Do you have like sports days then?
Yes, we had sports days then, yeah. Before sports days, you had what you called a thing where you... I've forgotten what they called it now. You got so many points to start off with. So many points for throwing. You had to throw the javelin so far. You had to long jump so long, high jump so high. Do the 100 metres, well, 100 yards as it was then. The 100, the 200, the hurdles, the relays, standards. That's what they call them, standards. And you got so many points for how far you threw the javelin or the discus or anything like that. And that went on to we was in 4 houses. Athenian was green, Corinthian was yellow, Olympian was red, and Spartan was blue. And I was in Athenian. I was house captain of Athenian House, sports captain. Not house captain, sports captain of Athenian House. So, and that went on to the total... when you had the sports day and that. So then those that had got the standards went in for, well, whatever standards they got for. So usually I was in for all the lot, like, you know. And then afterwards everything was all, and the house obviously got the most points, got the big shield and everything and that. Then we had a Victor Ludorum and a Victrix Ludorum, which was the man and the women who'd got the most points. All told, as you may say, yeah.
So what did you do at a typical school day?
What went from kindergarten or senior or what?
Senior, probably.
A school day,
yeah.
We started at 9 o'clock and finished at 4 o'clock. And it was an hour for lunch. We did PE, there was religious education, history, maths, science, domestic science, which was cooking and things like that. The boys did metalwork and woodwork when we did our domestic science things and that. In fact, the science teacher was a brilliant science teacher. She really was. She got me really interested in science. Really, she was really very, very good. All our teachers, we didn't have supply teachers then. They were you had the teachers all the way through the school, and what they was cap and gown for, you know, they taught. If they had a degree in history, they taught history. You didn't get teachers that had got a degree in English teaching something else and that. The PE teachers just did PE and that, and they arranged all the sports, and we had a big hall. And if it was wet, we had climbing frames, ropes that we climbed up, vaults and things like that. You kept pretty active, really, in PE. You really did. With rounders, we played rounders. I played rounders for school, hockey for school, netball for school. Yeah, I was the first third year ever to play for a school in a school team. I ran relays for the school in the school's competitions and that, yeah. But it was good. I enjoyed my school. It was good. I enjoyed them. It really was good. We had good teachers, and the school was good. And the headmaster was Mr. Church, and the headmistress was Miss Farrington. And he walked round swishing his cane, but he would never cane a girl. But if he caned a boy, he was caned at front of the whole school. The whole school went into the assembly hall and he was caned on stage. All the teachers was there and all the pupils of that school was there, and he was caned at front of the whole school. No messing about, no. You didn't run along the corridors or along the quads or anything, you walked. If you found running, you was put in detention. For a week maybe, something like that. And you were sweeping, I was once put in detention. I wasn't running, and I forgot what I was doing now. And I had to sweep the school corridors. There was me with this bloody long brush sweeping the school corridors. It was bigger than me, actually, because I was only little. I'm not that much bigger now. And it was a big long brush with a head about this wide, about 3 foot wide. And there's me down at the bottom end of it, more or less. The top end was going like that. Absolutely ridiculous. But there you go. That was my penance for doing something wrong. I think I was talking in class or something like that. Looking out at the classroom window at the sports that was going on instead of looking what I was supposed to be doing and things like that.
Did you get in trouble a lot?
No, because you was taught respect of the school, respect of your teachers, and respect for the people that was in the school, respect for the things that was in school. So there was no vandalism, nobody wrecked a school or anything like that, because they knew the consequences if they did. You know, the consequences was very hard. They really was. And while I was at school, I don't remember anyone ever being vandalised. The school wasn't vandalised or anything, or anyone being excluded from school because of something that they'd done. You know, so there was nothing like that, because you was taught respect. You really did. You stood up when the headmaster or the headmistress came in the room. You stood up when the mistress or the master came in the room. And everyone was Miss and Sir or Mrs. if they was married. You didn't call them by the first name. You don't. Because that was an offence, as you might say. Everybody was all Miss or whoever, or Mrs. or Sir, whichever it was, yeah. Yeah, but there was no, as I said, you was taught to respect people and respect the people that lived round the school as well, because where Wellfield was, well, where all schools was, there was houses and that. So you didn't go, when you came out of school, you walked out of school and walked to the top of the road and that, because lo and behold, if you screamed or anything like that, that was it. You was reported back to school, because these people that lived in the houses had been told any rowdyism to report back to school, and they would deal with it, which they did. But there wasn't really any, because you was taught that respect for your school, for your fellow pupils, for your teachers, for everything around it, and the people that lived around it. Because like they said, you're on your school for so long, they're here for a long time with their houses and that.
Is it a big school?
Wellfield was a pretty big school, yeah. I think we'd 22 teachers, something like that, pretty big. But as I said, we didn't have supply teachers then. It was teachers, all the teachers were at that school from start to finish. I don't remember while I was at school a teacher changing, leaving or anything. He was all there for quite a long time. And good teachers they was, really good teachers. I think that's what made it nice at school, because the teachers taught and there was interest in what they taught. The science teachers was absolutely brilliant, and the PE teachers was brilliant as well. And everyone was. The history. I wasn't keen on maths. It was a big woman, Miss Ward, and she was massive. She was, and she used to do. We had gardening then. That was for the lower forms and that. But she was the maths teacher, and she used to have these plants dotted about the classroom. So if we wouldn't feel like doing maths, we used to say, "Oh, Miss Ward, what a lovely plant that is." And then, of course, we'd get the whole history of this plant. So we'd sit there, all the double maths, thinking we'd got away with it, till it came to go. And she said, "And by the way, this is your maths homework for today. The double maths that they haven't done in the afternoon." So we didn't get away with it, really. But we tried a few times with Miss Ward, yes. Yeah, we tried quite a few times there, but she always gave us, if it was double maths, we got double maths homework. So I think we all got a bit fed up and thought, well, beggar the plants, we're not doing that again.
Do you know about how many pupils there were round about?
Oh, I've no idea. I've no idea. Probably not as many as what there are in schools now. There was 20 classrooms, and I suppose about maybe 30, 25, 30 to each class. You know, so I wouldn't like to say just how many, really. Probably not as many as what there are now, and that.